Title 17 U.S. Code 512F provides penalties for the deliberate misrepresentation of copyright infringement. The owners and authors of this video, the common denominator, and the Paramystic Broadcast Channel are a nonprofit 501c3 exempt organization and believes in good faith that it constitutes educational fair use, as per Title 17 U.S.C. 107. Persons, agencies, attorneys, and or social media algorithms filing a false or frivolous Digital Millennium Copyright Act complaint may be subject to civil liability. Warning: the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Accordingly, viewer discretion is advised.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields the bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was gonna put him.
Time will tell on their coward minds, making war just for fun, treating people just like pawns in chess. Wait till their judgment day comes. Yeah!
Welcome to another installment of What's Really Going On in America. And I want to apologize for last week. We had some difficulties, but we're back. Anyway, before I start, I always show off. These shirts, Human Lives Matter. I sell these for $15 on WRGOA.com. And look on the back. Stop the divide, start to unify. You know what that means? It means that people like Charlie Cook, who say they're tired of talking about racism all the time, I'm actually doing something about it. Or at least my attempt is to get these shirts sold throughout this nation. And we're going to be talking about that today. Color division. And it's funny how both sides, one side says with the Black Lives Matter, let's show number one, Black Lives Matter. So that's the leftist view. Thank you. And we can take that. Now, the leftists started with that. And we all know it's not the organization that it claims to be. In fact, I did a podcast, an independent one today, with a couple people I really wanted to be with on my Rumble account, and so I encourage you to go on Rumble, look for WRGOA, who had a coming out of the Democratic Party, and they would agree that this organization, in spite of being black, that it doesn't do anything for the black community, because they're more concerned about, now, am I against cops shooting anyone that's unarmed? Of course. It doesn't matter if you're black or white or brown. Doesn't matter. Skin color doesn't make your humanity. It is your humanity that makes your humanity. Okay, so with that in mind, so the number I got from Candace Owens watching one of her podcasts is 15 a year. Maybe 20 at most by now. But the abortion rates is over millions. The black on black crimes, you would think that the Black Lives Matter would say, "Ooh, a black life died, and it was caused by one of our own, and we got to stop this." I never seen it. Instead, they just mess up whole cities. But okay. So we have. Sorry for bothering you. I want to offer a promotion for your channel, viewers, followers, chatbots. The price is lower than any competitor. We can talk about that. Yeah. So like I was saying, I never now. So like I was saying, what was I? Oh yeah, the massacres of what you call it, of cities, and all because one cop killed one black person. But black on black crime, ruining their livelihoods, doesn't count for black lives or abortions, which is in the millions altogether. But I will give the Lehigh Valley Black Lives Matter a commendation. When they protested, they told me that, and this was years ago, like a few years ago, when they had a protest because one of our Allentown cops put their knee on someone's neck, kind of like what happened in, believe it was Montana, Michigan. Feel free to correct me there. But when they went to protest, they made sure that human lives mattered. They made sure that everyone was safe and that there would be no destruction. no killings, no nothing. So they promoted my shirt in action, and I can be proud of that. Yeah, so far we have it pretty good in Allentown compared to New York and all the major cities. I get along with many of the Allentownians here. Some even stop me and say, when it's warmer, I can wear this t-shirt outside without freezing. So I get some people that say, "Ooh, I like that shirt," because they see what I'm doing. So let's pull up number 2. The Blue Lives Matter. This is the first way the right wing has further color division. Now, at the time, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking, why are we arguing about color? Yes, their lives matter, but let's take a look. Yeah, I should have did some, given some videos of where police have been bad to the public. And it's not a white, black, or brown thing. It's not a skin color thing. It is about the green, the silver, and the 24 karat gold. The 3 colors of money. And they love and think about it. If you give liberals who think they know it all a gun and a badge, what ends up happening? They make up laws in their own mind, and they falsely arrest you for a law you didn't even break. For a law that they made up. So yeah, there are bad cops out there, especially if they're leftists in the police force, especially if they're chiefs and sergeants and lieutenants. But imagine, but the right wing say, "Oh, we support the blue." No. I support gardens, but I still want to pull out the weeds. Don't you? There's weeds in everything. There's weeds in humanity. If it's blacks, they're good and bad. I'm fortunate enough to live in this area where most of them are good, that want to do good, that want to work for what they have, and to earn a living, and to be excellent to each other, as Bill and Ted would say on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. We have, but then there are some bad ones, just like there are bad whites, bad blues. But we want to categorize, but the leftists and the right wing want to categorize everyone according to color. But then when the right wing, faces a cop that wants to violate your constitutional rights to hold the government accountable, that's when they say, "Oh, we support you, but you're bad." But then when they leave that bad cop, back to the old, just go back to the old, back to supporting the blue like nothing ever happened. Like you shouldn't investigate every police officer on an individual basis. Or we shouldn't investigate every black person on an individual basis. And into so we got so and then let's pull up number 3. White Lives Matter. Does anyone remember Candace Owens and Kanye West. I will admit, for 1 minute, 60 seconds, exactly on the button, I cheered for it. But then I thought this was stupid. I'm a human being with white skin. I'm not a white guy. I'm a human being that happens to have white skin. And I'm the one that says it was stupid to furthermore from the right wing with White Lives Matter. And to this day, I will tag Candace Owens, call her out for it, and Kanye West. I'm willing to have a healthy debate. And before you write me off saying, oh, you're calling her out, well, first, let me tell you, I highly respect her. I love what she does. I perfectly understand why she agreed to doing that with Kanye West. But overall, we just further human division. I mean, color division. It's almost like both sides do not want human lives matter. Just when I came up with the idea, I got a little bit over 300 t-shirts made with the idea that we can unify. Now, some have bought. I had a big sell from a guy in the Constitution Party, which I would love to interview on this show. Great guy, and it's a party I'm gonna really investigate along with the Libertarian, because let's just say, believe it or not, I got Mindy Robinson, the sweetheart that she is, as long as your name ain't Joe Biden, to promote my t-shirts. And that's probably one of the most awesome things I've ever done. Connecting with a patriot who thinks just like me. And in my own local town, a big name in my local town, for a local town hero anyway, Steve Lynch. He ran for a county executive against McClure. And he actually promoted the shirt, the Human Lives Matter shirt, in a wonderful way. And then, if you can even believe it, I had a liberal or two buy these shirts because they didn't like the color Lives Matter. Liberals, the opposite of everything conservatives believe in, got these shirts because they want to help me spread this message. And just in case, human lives matter. And I got from small, medium, large, and extra large for now. If I get these shirts sold, I can get 2Xs, 3Xs as needed. But I'm gonna need the public's help on that. People who are sick and tired of talking about skin color matters, always fighting about it. If we don't unite as the human race, which is the only race we have, well, hate to tell you this, but we're gonna lose this country because and this country is worth fighting for, but we gotta do things differently. You know, most people like in my local area probably think I'm too conservative. That's probably why they brush me off. Who knows? Maybe they're Democrats in disguise. I don't know. But it seems like to me that, you know, so on another note of this, Planet Fitness went woke. A woman, went to complain about a guy who identified as a woman go into the woman's locker room to shave his face. She took a picture, went out, and they disbarred her, like they took her membership away because she violated the policy of taking pictures. Now, that I can understand, but they did nothing to the guy. It's and the judgment for so and yet well, people are discontinuing their memberships now because of what happened, and they got on the news, and they may never recover from that. Even if they change now, if they change their policies to where that can never happen again, where maybe they can have like a third locker room strictly for transgenders, men, women, and bathroom and locker room for X. Now, this is America. They can do it. Now, I'm not big on the transgender movement or anything. It's just that if people are gonna do them, let people use locker room, bathroom X as if they feel comfortable. People, we all have choices. That's what makes America America. Airbnb also banned all interior security cameras. No listing will be allowed to have any cameras, even in the common areas. Interesting. But now, you know what's equally as woke? Amazon. Amazon's woke. They support Democrats. Planet Fitness shown they support Democrats. Many of the big businesses support Democrats, and many of the conservatives are spending their money on Democratic supported businesses. Why? I took off my Amazon app and switched it to Public Square because Public Square shares my values. They will put their money where my values are. And in the past, we could disagree and spend money at a business, but now we can't because the other side is just too insane. But if our unity is only limited to seeing the wokeness for ourselves, even though it's clear that they are, right in front of your faces or due to popularity, we're not going to win our country back. Now, who wants to win their country back? Anyone watching, I want to see comments on here saying, I want to win back our country. Because, and feel free to disagree or even give me better solutions to getting this country back. Now, I know I talked a lot about the right wing, and that's because we need to change how we think. We need to change our strategy. A lot of the people are saying the next election. Well, that's a joke. As long as we are using machines, because let's say me and Susan Wild were running for Congress. Okay, now I'm winning by 2,000 votes. Technically, with a few strokes of the keyboard and the mouse, and with the power of technology, in less than a minute, those numbers could be changed. So I lose, even though I technically won. And you want to talk about elections, winning the next elections? People are talking about doing mail-in ballots. Now, a friend of mine, along with with a few others, started a Win Again organization. And Lisa Scheller was one of them. She's a personal friend, and I love her to death. But there are things that they do not know that's happening. And I told her face to face that there's something that she needs to know. To this day, nothing. I emailed another one months ago. I emailed another, Dean Browning. No, nothing got back to me. We gotta do better than this. You know, we need a new, like I said, we need a new strategy. We gotta think differently. We got to support businesses that will put our money where our values are. You know, if we continue spending money on Amazon or any other woke company that's out there, we're gonna lose the war. We'll win some battles for the time being, but we'll end up losing the war because we all need to be supported. If we're gonna win, we all got to think. We cannot act like the leftist. The leftist wants to take away our rights, but yet the right wing, in my experiences, say no to others for the same rights as the right wing wants. They'll say yes for me, but no for you, and it's going both sides. We can't do that. You know, whenever a leftist say, well, what if I said this? What if I do that? And it's constitutionally protected. You know what? I tell them straight up, you are well within your constitutional rights to do that. You can take all the pictures you want, all the video you want. You can do press. You know, you can go on YouTube or Rumble and do the press. It's your constitutional right. Even if I don't like how you report it. But it is our job to think for ourselves what is true and what is not. But we got to stop saying no to them when we want to say yes to us for the same thing. That's hypocritical on both sides. And I mean, and considering that I can even find middle ground with some menial issues with the leftists, the liberals, says a lot about my character. You know, the one day I was walking out with my Human Lives Matter t-shirt. A guy saw it. A human being with black skin saw it. He was mad, so he asked me, "Why do you wear this?" Now, most people will say, "Because all lives matter," because they see the word. I say human lives matter, not all. You know why? Because A, there are some people who do not have humanity in them, and B, a leftist got me, and I confessed to them. I said, "You are right," when they said this to me. So you don't eat meat. So you don't eat cows, pigs, and stuff like that. And I said, "Well, I eat meats, just not pork." And so you are right. I can't include animals if I'm trying to end color division. That's how I came up with the human lives matter. So I get tired of it when people say all lives matter. But anyway, going back to the story, the guy said, "Why you wear that shirt?" And I said to him, "Because you're a wonderful human being who deserves dignity, honor, and respect." He turned around. He was still mad, but he turned around, walked away. Total respect for me to wear it. And I'm hoping to this day that he sees what I was trying to do, to include him in the human race by calling him a human being. It's not hard when you have de-escalation skills. And most people, would ask me, would say I have better de-escalation skills than the police. And in many cases, I do. I learned it from working in the food service for over 20 years. There are times when you have to be tough, but in most cases, you can find middle ground. You can make the person happier. And you don't have to have a debate. You just have to use the right words. And with freedom of speech, I will agree with Don Lemon, even though I hear he's not all that great. There's a responsibility. But there is. And that is, you just got to know how to word things. Escalating things doesn't do our movement really good. I like Charlie Kirk. When I see his his debates after his speeches, he'll put those who disagree with him to the front of the line before those who do agree with him. I think I would do it like that too. And for them to ask their questions and even have a debate with Charlie Kirk, in a civil debate, and even in the debate shows that I know he does with And by the way, if you're watching this and you don't agree with the conservative movement, I want you on this show. And we can have a civil debate. And I will say now, we don't have to agree at the end on anything. But at the end of the show, the goal is for both of us to take time to think about what each other says. In some places we may find middle ground. In some places we may agree on things 100%. In other ways, we may not agree on it at all. Like abortion, we will never agree on it, but I'm still willing to talk to you about it. Plain and simple. And if you can't do it at this time, I did start up an independent one, podcast, and I will work with your timing. But I do think, but I will be on this time slot with the network that's helped me so much because they are awesome people, great patriots. I love them to death. They help me when I need help. And without them, I wouldn't even have this, let alone an independent show, which is awesome. So don't think I'm gonna, leave this, because I'm not. But I just want to make myself more accessible to the people out, in this world. So, and I'm hoping that all my Patriot channels grow. I definitely want X to grow. I would like to get 1 million followers on X from Patriots, but also from those who disagree with me, especially those who will disagree with me, and just continue trolling rather than blocking me because they can't handle truth. But I was, and so there are some things I do respect from the liberals and leftists at times, and I can see where they're coming from by putting myself in their shoes. You know, we say, now most of us will say, get a job for money. You know how hard it is to work with bosses that never get fired, that make your life miserable, and to the point where a lot of people end up going to the hospital due to stress because their bosses lay stress on them. My most stressful job was, believe it or not, at a Chick-fil-A, where the owner's wife made my job the most stressful. It was more stressful than the McDonald's that I used to work at. And that's with a supervisor that I call the Terminator, because he would fire people left and right. He fired 14 people in one shift. Now, of course, they all deserved it, but this guy was like off the railing. And plus, when I was a GM, he didn't help me. He basically took control of my store. Although I still made that store great from customer view. So, yeah, there are very few jobs that actually have good managers to work for. And so then you'll say, well, why don't you start a company and look at it, you know how hard that is? That's even harder than a job. When you get lack of support. So, but me being a believer in God and the faith in God, knowing that I'm not going to leave this world without Christ, going to heaven, you know, I and the Bible is straight up and honest. You're going to suffer in this lifetime. So I'm not going to go with socialism. I'm not going to take your money for housing and all that. Either people support me or they don't. But for people without hope that I have, they're going to go taking your money for their housing, for their cell phones, internet, tablets. Out on the streets of Allentown, almost every corner of Allentown, there's people giving away government cell phones and tablets and internet. Nearly everywhere. And you know that's the thing you want to stop. Well, we got to do better as Americans. We got to give them hope, because let me tell you, if we're not giving hope, they're going to take their hope from you, and then you'll be spending more money in tax dollars to buy their stuff, to buy their services. And eventually, we'll end up in communism, the very spot where you're trying to fight against. But we're not doing a good job. And we got to do better. If the conservative movement's going to do better, going to fight against communism, we got to think outside the typical conservative talking point boxes. And we got to start caring. Now, there are some leftists that do not care, that will not listen. I get that too. But with my heart and my attitude, and I'm not trying to say I'm above all else. No, I'm just following the guy who is above all else, following his example. That's Jesus Christ. Following his example, I was able to talk to leftists, hardcore leftists, in a healthy debate without hate. And liberals. And in some instances, find middle ground on some of the menial issues. So why is it so hard for you, the right wing, to do it? Because you don't have the heart of me and Charlie Cook and and Candace Owens, but I'm just an everyday guy. I don't have a big platform. I have little support. I can't say no support because I did get some. And my first financial support wasn't from a Christian nor a right wing. Let me read you some scripture here. Especially for those of you watching that are Christians, you may appreciate this. Luke 10, verse 30. In reply, no, let's start with 29. But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, "Who is my neighbor?" In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho When he fell into the hands of robbers, they stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, and leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down this same road, and when he saw the man, he passed on by on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed on by to the other side. Now, now get this one. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came to where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, poured in oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii, some money, and gave it to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for the extra expense you may have. Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? Now, let me catch you up on the 21st century. So, a patriot, a Christian patriot, is suffering at the hands of the government and the people. And a patriot walks by or sees the patriot, the Christian patriot, and just ignores them. Then a Christian walks out of the church and sees the patriot Christian, and they leave. It totally ignores them. But then a leftist sees the Christian patriot suffering, and they go to him or her and say, and ask, is everything okay? And they say, well, if you want to help me gain some, help me get a job or build my business or whatnot, that would be great. That person didn't expect, someone to buy, give money or whatever. They just want you to help their business grow. Because with over millions of people in this country, there will be those who will financially give that can. And so, in my case, it was a liberal that gave me my first donation. This young lady was in my inbox on my business page asking me if I was okay. And she disagrees with everything on my page, but she still likes it, she still supports it, and she was my first financial support. $30 donation. I asked her if I can give her a couple shirts because she spent the money. I wanted to do that for her but she said, no, I'm okay. I just want to make sure you're okay. A liberal. See, in the story of Jesus saying, who is my neighbor? Jesus was saying, your neighbor's the one who is closest to you, the one who's going to go out of their way to make sure you're okay. The first the Levite and the priest were this guy's people, his own people. But the Samaritan in the Bible were hated among Jews, totally despised, people to stay away from. But it was the Samaritan that helped this guy getting in, bandage his wounds. So who is your neighbor? And do you want to continue the color division that's going on in our country? Because if you do, you might as well stop fighting for the constitutional rights. Because your color division on both sides is not helping at all. You're just going to increase socialism and the need for it. I'm the kind of guy that if I was a millionaire, I would want to pay people $50 an hour to work for me. In this economy, it would be $50 an hour minimum. Maybe 75, because I'm not looking to become a billionaire. I just want to help people. You know, people help me build a business. I help my supplier build his business. And then I hire people to help me with my business. And yes, what's really going on in America is an LLC registered in Pennsylvania. You can look it up on the Pennsylvania Department of State under business search. And if we're going to be honest, so yeah. But yeah, I would like my business to grow because I want to help people. I want to help the homeless get help. I want to, try and help. There's organizations I would give to here in Allentown that would help homeless people get back on their feet and off the streets. But I can't do that without your help. Make human lives matter. No more color division. Please stop the color division out there. And Candace Owens, give this message. Anyone who knows Candace Owens or can get in touch with her, I'm willing to have a discussion either on here or on her podcast. Either way, I'm willing to get on there. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, tell her I sat and anyone who does get to, let her know. I have a question. Why does she for the color division using her, agreeing with Kanye West with White Lives Matter? I know why. I understand why. But I wonder why she didn't think it would not further color division. And I ask every single one of you, I don't care if you're leftist, right wing, middle. Well, if you're in the middle, you agree with me. But liberals, why does color matter? Let's go back to Martin Luther King saying, let us be known by the content of our character. But both sides have to stop talking about color. Morgan Freeman even said we got to stop talking about race. And it's not even race. It's a skin color. Your skin color is not your race. Humanity is your race. If you agree with me or not, that's what we said in the 80s and we just changed it over the last 30 years? I don't think so. It's the only thing that makes sense. So, like I said, so I'm going to leave you with this. That's the website where you can grab your Human Lives Matter t-shirt. Support. If you're out there listening, please support this cause, because I do not want, A, I don't want all this work to go to waste, and B, I want to end the color division entirely, completely gone, no more. So this is something new to cheer about for both sides. Let's make it the middle ground. All right. Well, that's all the time I got for you today. And I will see you next week. Out.